Everyone's talking about 6.2 V8 failures and Toyota Tundra V6 failures, but the Ram Hemi has a dark secret of its own. This high mileage Ram Hemi is being provided by the Sky Ford of Provo. Link to their website in the description down below. If you have any questions, need any help, just ask for John Jenks. Now the 5.7 Hemi's been around since the time of the dinosaurs, essentially, but for some reason Ram hasn't fixed some fundamental problems with it. Now, power outputs on this engine are good. 395 horsepower, 410 pound-feet of torque, and this one actually has the e-torque setup, which gives it a little bit of an electric assist. Now, there is no official fail rate number from Ram or anything like that. This is just the number that most mechanics and everything agree on, so again, take it with a grain of salt. But anyways, roughly 5 to 10% of 5.7 Hemis will fail from severe lifter or camshaft failures. Just to put that number to perspective, the GM 6.2 V8 fail rate, roughly 3% is what most people agree on with that. The Toyota Tundra V6 fail rate, the numbers are all over the place at this point. Some people say it's sub 1%. Some people say it's closer to 2 to 3%. But either way, this is higher than both of those. And it's a lot higher than the new Hurricane. A lot of people have been mad at me for pushing the new Hurricane, but it's a really good powertrain. Again, this is not an official number, but from what most people are saying, the fail rate on that, way less than 1%. If you're looking for more unbiased, straight to the point reviews like this, make sure you subscribe. Now this Ram that we're looking at has over 145,000 miles on the odometer, and I'm actually very impressed with how the truck has held up. You know, trim pieces, for example, this has like these fancy painted fender flares. You can see the two-tone paint, like all the paint has held up pretty darn well. You do have a little bit of misalignment with some stuff, but again, that's kind of just modern vehicles in general. But panel gaps and stuff aside, because apparently modern car companies don't know how to put stuff on straight, the truck, like I said, is doing really well. And if we actually take a look at the bed, this one doesn't even have a bed liner. Do you hear this? The latch won't unlatch, of course. Anyways, you can see that it was used a bit, but yeah, even the painted stuff, like it holds up really well. Like there's no rust or anything. Now I'm gonna give this one more go. This is so weird. That's crazy. Anywho, popping inside, you can see that, yeah, this has held up really well. And yeah, all this stuff looks really good. I think they do a good job with the interior trim on these Rams. Just taking a look at everything, seems like it does pretty darn well. Yeah, this is gonna have the most wear because it's the driver stuff. Even the buttons don't have fade on them, which is great. Now this is a little bit interesting. Don't know how that happened. But the rest of the seat's good. I can see there's a little bit of wear. Now there is another funny thing that I found in this. We pop in. You can see the steering wheel again. This is another high wear point. It's doing pretty darn well. There's kind of a little bit of starting to kind of tear a little bit, it looks like. Anyways, look at this. Yeah. Again, it's got 145,000 miles on it, but it's kind of funny to see that. Now, like most of these high mileage reviews, the electronics just work. This is making me a lot more comfortable with electronics in vehicles, because seeing these higher mileage vehicles have all of this stuff that still works perfectly fine. This one does have physical buttons, which is great. And then, you know, the driveline setup, you can see it has the normal quick actuation, so there's no trouble with that. And this one actually has a bench seat, which is kind of nifty. Let's see if the power setting window. Well, at least that electronic thing functions normally. So let's quickly go over the Carfax, and honestly, it is pretty boring to read. But now that I've kind of gone over this truck, I can see why this person traded in, and they also traded in at a Ford dealership. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But anyways, you had AC refrigerant recharge at 24,000 miles. So that's a little bit out of the ordinary, but not too out of the ordinary. I mean, this truck was in Texas, which can get very hot, so could have been used in AC full blast all the time. And so yeah, just could have used it up a little bit quicker. But yeah, this is just basic maintenancing. 123,000 miles. So nothing really exciting to see. And they did a bunch of maintenancing as it came in as well. But let's go over the pricing. So this truck originally stickered for about $53,000. And today it's still going for about $25,000. So yeah, again, these pickup trucks, it just doesn't seem like they lose too much value over time because yeah, people are just always willing to pay money for utility. So let's take this out and see how it performs. This is probably one of the most painful high mileage reviews that I've done because I'm kind of getting black-pilled. A little bit. So here's the deal. I've been doing this high mileage series and I've seen some good and some bad. The bad has been eye-opening. For example, I was going to do a review on a BMW X7 earlier today. It only had 80,000 miles on it. Such bad condition, the dealership is sending it straight to auction. Now, I'm just going to talk about Stellantis product in general. I've had a hard time finding Stellantis product with over 100,000 miles that's not going straight to auction. Now, what does straight to auction mean? I worked at a dealership, new car dealership. That means that the repair bill on the vehicle is so high that the dealership cannot justify spending money in the repair shop to then resell it. So what this looks like is, let's say that the truck's trade-in value is 30, let's just make the numbers easy, 30,000. Let's say that the retail value is 35,000, and let's say that the dealership trades it in for 30,000, right? They pay a fair market value. They take it into the shop, the repair bill is $7,000. That would mean that the dealership would own the truck for $37,000. So from a business perspective, that obviously doesn't make sense. So that means that vehicle is going to go to auction because they would rather lose a little bit of money in auction than own a $35,000 truck for $37,000. You get what I'm saying? So I worked at a Ram dealership for a few years. My grandparents always talk about this. When they retired, they bought 2 Jeeps, a Cherokee and a Grand Cherokee. And they put hundreds of thousands of miles on them, loved them, and it just, I don't know, it made the whole, this like Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler in my mind was just reliable, high quality. And I don't know, I'm starting like, working at the dealership, I saw some stuff, right? Because I'd see trucks get traded in with over 100,000 miles and they were rough. And some of it could definitely be, like, one thing that I will critique Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler dealerships for, they do not do a very good job with emphasizing how important maintenance is to their customers. Power in this engine's good. When I see people go and buy, like, Fords, for example, like, the dealers will just straight up say, you got to be here every 3,000 to 5,000 miles for oil changes. You just don't really seem to, and I'm not like, I know there's Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler dealerships that do this, that tell the customers you got to come in every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, but a lot of them just don't. They're so worried about just selling the vehicle because, you know, they're worried about losing the customer to Ford or Chevy or Toyota, that they kind of forget, like, okay, once the person decides they want to buy the Ram, make sure that that person takes care of the truck, you know what I mean? So I think that's part of it. Because I look at the Carfax on this, and then, you know, these other Stellantis vehicles that I've tried to review, and I've noticed the maintenance intervals are a lot bigger than what I'm seeing with Ford owners and with General Motors owners and with Toyota owners. So I think that's part of it. I think that, like, this is my friendly advice to Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler dealers and the manufacturer. Emphasize the importance of maintenance to your customers. Like, massively emphasize that. Create some sort of, like, Toyota has a program where you buy a new car and you get, like, the first, I think it's like the first 2 years of maintenance covered. Do something to get people to be coming into the dealership on a regular basis. So I think that's part of it. The other part of it is just there's so many electronics. Like this, again, we talked about the Hemi problems that can certainly happen. This truck is original engine, original transmission, doing just fine. Like I said, 90+% of you won't have an issue. But there's so many fancy electronics in these Rams, and you got the air suspension as an option. This one doesn't have it. That, I mean, you guys saw the tailgate wouldn't open. The windshield wipers. And again, this is minor stuff that I'm sure the dealership can just do one little thing and boom, it's fixed. But the problem is this minor stuff can sometimes add up over time. And so I think that Ram, like, they're the first truck to have a passenger screen. Too many gimmicks. Too many gimmicks. They need to just focus on the fundamentals of the truck. If they just do, like Ram is, like, you guys know I love these trucks. They drive so nice. Like this truck, even at 145,000 miles, original suspension, it drives really nice. If they just hone in on making those fundamentals really good, stop doing the stupid gimmicks, right? Calm down with the gimmicks. And then really, really, really push the customers to properly maintenance their vehicles. Because I bet that if Ram people were taking their trucks in every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, like what you see with Ford owners, what you see with GM owners, Toyota owners, I would be seeing a lot more of these trucks with high mileage that aren't going straight to auction because they've got, you know, a bunch of things that need to be fixed on them. So, yeah. Let me know your thoughts. I mean, you guys can let me know if you think, oh, this is not a deferred maintenance thing that's causing these Rams to have issues. It's just bad engineering or bad. You can make that. I don't think that's the case. I think that after I've read enough of these Carfaxes and I've done enough of these videos to kind of see a pattern, and and I think the biggest reason why, especially I noticed with Ford and Toyota, they, like, you look at the maintenance intervals on those and they're really, really short for a lot of the owners. I think with Toyota it makes sense because they prepay for the maintenance. And then Ford, like, you guys can attest to this or not, when you buy a Ford, how like, what does the salesperson tell you, right? The salesperson's like, hey, turbo engine, you gotta change the oil all the time. And the reason why, you know, the Ford salesperson knows this and the Ford dealers know this is because Ford's been doing the turbo engines for well over a decade, and so they've seen what happens when you have deferred maintenance on a turbo engine. Now you might think, okay, well, the Ram has a naturally aspirated engine, so, you know, it shouldn't be a problem. But a modern, here's my statement of this video. A modern naturally aspirated engine, let me back up a little bit more. A modern naturally aspirated engine with all the emissions equipment and everything, it doesn't need oil changed as often as a turbo engine technically, but at the same time, it's not like the old engines. Like, there's so much stuff in these powertrains now that it's better to just have clean fluids in it all the time. So this truck obviously made it with some, you know, I'll call that probably, that's probably, I mean, there's got to be some sort of electrical glitch with the tailgate and the windshield wipers to why you don't have the latch opening and then these things not really moving, but sad day. I want the Ram to win. This shows you that I'm not biased because, like, even though I want the truck to win these 100,000 mile like these long-term tests, I'm just saying it how it is. I'm just putting it how it is.